she requires all of her tenants, I guess, to have it, and she often just provides that on their behalf, but they tend to pay for it. The only other information I can share is I do have lots of pictures of Gallaudet space. I think I informally shared that with folks. I didn't have time to print it out. It's a very, very nice space at Gallaudet. It's
not the hotel.
No, it's not the hotel. It's actually in their student center. It's about a 5-minute walk from the parking lot. It's a first of all much bigger room. Their table, the furniture is in a little bit better condition than it is here. AV is also much better. I think we've all tried to make this projector situation work so that folks can see where we are on the agenda. They have some nicer TVs. They also have microphones for everyone. That was something I think we've heard a couple of times, that folks in the back of the room often can't hear us talk. And of course, they set up the room for us and break it down for us. That's something that I know I come, and Commissioner Blackwell comes early and do that, and Eddie comes early. But that is something that we are currently responsible for doing on our own here, and that's something that their staff would handle perfectly.
What do you mean?
With that already.
So what?
That space.
Gallaudet?
Yeah.
It may also, and sorry, one other clarification, it's probably worth noting, I think everyone here knows this, but just to state it, this location is not in our ANC. And that's, I think, what was originally spurring a lot of there were a lot of posts on Nextdoor and email in person. I think lots of our constituents have said we really want these meetings to happen, to occur within the boundaries of our commission. And this is not. This is well outside of our commission.
You not be threatened being arrested because you have access to me.
That didn't frankly weigh into my decision.
I know.
Or into my.
So we voted to move the Gallaudet.
No, there's not been a motion. I think for discussion.
Yeah, I think I just wanted to open for discussion. Like, what?
No, I was just saying, would that be the amendment to move the Gallaudet?
So we certainly could. So I think what we're deciding here is location. So I think we have to do, like, if we want to move, then where we want to move. We also, if in both of those scenarios, they're going to require some amount of money, so we would need to authorize to spend that amount of money. I also would say, tactically speaking, I think the earliest that that we could move to either of these locations is probably for the August meeting. I think that would be tough to do in the next 2 weeks, because we also need to make sure the community knows we have moved, and we need to, like, I'll probably hold it our part to get the word out.
I would say September.
That's what we're going to say. So Frank said that they can't even do on Tuesday. They have to do Monday.
Correct. Friend, they can only do Monday, so we have to change our day.
And, well, I think we should look into getting that general liability insurance wherever we go. As a commission.
I think we should consult Gottlieb on that.
Am I allowed to ask a question?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if we're open for discussion. Did you guys, maybe I missed this, what about the Trinidad Neighborhood Association?
You mean the Trinidad Recreation
Right.
Center?
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Now, that's an option, and that was one of the places I was supposed to check out, and I haven't finished checking it out, and so that's a public space, but it will be based on what services, like if it conflicts with, I don't know what Tuesday works for them, but I can find out. That's what I was supposed to be finding out. The second Tuesday of every month, I would have to talk to Anthony and find out if they have any programming that would conflict with that, if they could accommodate us for that space. I know that there's a larger community room, and then there's also Joe Cole, that is another rec center that we could check out, and that would most likely be free. But we would still have the interpreter services that we would have to pay for.
Right. I mean,
And
So,
you said that, I just came from a meeting night at Joe Cole for the first time, actually in the Wheatley Library, which is a nice room. About the same, a little smaller than this. But you know, because it was in the library, they had the committee table. Actually, for that meeting was because that commission, it was a commission on fathers, men, and boys. They have 9, 11. So they filled up the whole front. Then they had a panel for discussion. So they have enough room for them. So it was like 5 in the panel. So that was too. That room was too small for them, but I think it would accommodate us because we only have 7 commissioners, and it had plenty of room for. Actually, had a screen because it's the library, the new library, so it even had a projector. I don't know how that would work out, but you know, we look at the recreation centers, but you have to set up that this is more, and I think.
We can explore it.
Yeah.
I'll look into that. One of the other things I know on here, it says, parking available. So parking would be the same as like the Capitol Fringe would be in the neighborhood. So I guess there's positives for various ones, but, we can add that so we can compare it.
And just like the meeting y'all had at Bethesda,
Mm-hmm.
that one for the
For the RFP. The
Yeah.
R, yeah.
yeah, that, and but we had to go up steps. That's the only thing about that, because it
No, there's
wasn't.
an elevator.
There was an elevator?
Yeah,
They're
Oh.
probably something
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In that building, and when you say in the neighborhood, that means when you say parking though, hopefully we get more people to walk, so parking won't be an issue. At least, you know, like you and I, the city, you walk over to Bethesda, and if it was in Trinidad, I would walk to Trinidad, you know, to either rack. So you would need, parking that's one of the main things about having a neighborhood. Hopefully people get a chance to walk to the meeting.
And my last question on this is, there's been a tremendous amount of development in 5D, and I'm not familiar with everybody's area or what's gone up in your area recently. But is there some development that has gone up where you could get space, a room or something devoted to holding a meeting once a month as a community benefit?
Actually, yes, to answer your question, there is one in particular. I had a meeting with Eden, and they had a space that they said that could be added to the list too. We didn't flesh out any details on that, but I was getting a tour, and they said, oh, here's this building here, because I said we need space, and so there are options for utilizing the space that they have.
Okay.
They said that they had an option, and it's within our, ANC.
Perhaps
Eden
maybe-
is a Union Market, they're the developer for Union. That's Pettigay's area.
Oh.
Yes, yes.
But it's still in our ANC.
Not that we just have to
Right.
do something there.
No, I just took a tour.
Oh,
I
just
wanted
took
to
a
see
tour.
Union Market.
Yeah.
And that's right, and then, she also said somebody in Ivy City was supposed to give space, or was that Commissioner Henderson said
I
that?
don't know.
No, it was supposed, Douglas Developer was supposed to give us a space, but they still working on it.
Yeah, it's still in development.
Well, no, it's in there, so it's not, I don't think it's under, I think it is one of the Eden
It's
buildings.
Eden, yeah,
Oh,
Eden.
Oh, it's the same.
So it's in there now, so when it's, I forget exactly which building it is, it's the one that's not on the Burger King site, the one right next to it. That, there's a community benefit in there for, and we need to have like a satellite office, and the ANC has not meeting space, it's not big enough for that, but it's.
Well, that's not the
it's
one that I was
actual-
referring to, like, they
Okay,
have
just to-
that.
So there's an ANC office in that space, so, and that, I think they said.
Yeah,
that-
they have included an ANC space within the Union, I forget exactly where it was, but it's in one of their buildings, next door to Union Market. But it's still, that hasn't been finalized, like they're still fixing up that
Yeah,
space,
they still
right?
fixing it up, yeah.
So, but there's a separate location that had parking, and it also has enough space for us to have meeting in there. So they said that would be a space that was available as well. Thank you for asking.
Questions? We can't hear you, correct?
So what are we voting on?
So that's my question. So at the last meeting at the June meeting, you know, we've talked about this committee of the whole meeting several times. Several times, I think folks have said they wanted more time to do more research. And at the same time, I think many members of the community have said we really want to see this meeting moved into the ANC. And so I think what we vote, you know, was at an improperly noticed meeting. What we did vote on at the meeting 2 weeks ago was to do what we're doing tonight, which is we put out a list of about 10 places. Trinidad and Joe Cole were on that list, and that we were gonna go research those places, and I was gonna compile the responses that I received. I didn't receive many responses, so I compiled what I had. So if we're gonna do more investigation, I think we just need to decide if we're actually gonna do it and when we're gonna do it by.
My assignment was Two Rivers, and they said no, they could not offer us space, but if we wanted to have an ANC meeting there, to let them know so they can have, you know, people there, like that we have the ANC meeting. But it's a lot of senior citizens, so I don't think they made a lot of sense. At Charles Young Two Rivers.
On the outside.
That was good.
On the outside.
So you're saying that's not a space we wanna consider?
But they don't have space for us, like office space.
Yeah, but we're talking about meeting space,
But
right?
we can have our meetings there, but the problem is the steps. I don't mean no harm, right?
Well, one of the area things on here is, ADA compliant. So if it's a space that wouldn't be accommodating people who had difficulty or disability, then that wouldn't be one that we probably want to consider.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, I wouldn't consider it, but it was offered.
That room in Bethesda, so that was their multi-purpose room? It wasn't a sanctuary, okay.
I mean, I'm sure it's, I don't know, Bethesda's been very, has anybody spoken with them?
No, because I thought, you know, I went up the steps, I know it was elevated.
No, there's no.
Elevated.
Yeah, and they have programs in there.
Community
Lots of-
programs.
Yeah. Not community programs, I mean, church-related programs go on into the evenings, perhaps Commissioner Lewis can check on Bethesda. I don't know, I'm just suggesting, I don't know if you guys have made your decision yet, but thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.
So I'm going to request that we, table this, only because it seems that we need to add a few more things here. And that we all have an agreement that we will have this done by the next date that we set it. Those who, me included, who have not followed up on some
Adam
items.
did a great job. Adam did a great job. Yeah, see, and when we find these places, we gotta, I don't mean I'm gonna consider the senior citizens. I got a lot of them in my area.
We are.
Well, yeah, that's what it says, because that's one of the things, because we got the young lady that comes in a wheelchair. So we know that, and that's the thing, you know, when I said, but I think about New Samaritan, coming through the chapel for wheelchair, because it's kind of built before these new ADA rules. So it's really kind of, you have to stay in the sanctuary.
So what are we doing?
You just made a motion to table.
I didn't make a motion, I just said I make a suggestion, but what is there?
I make a motion that we table to follow up with the additional, I make a motion that we table it so we can follow up with additional locations
By when?
by the next meeting.
ANC meeting? By the next ANC meeting?
By the next AMC meeting.
Yeah, 'cause I done did mine.
I just, look, it's not my decision, it's our decision. I would say, like, we have now several times said we were gonna make a decision, and we've set deadlines for ourselves, and then we haven't met them, so then we don't make a decision. So at some level, right, like, and that's, if we're not gonna decide today, that's totally fine. I do think it's important, if we're gonna be responsive to the community, that we do either say we're staying because we, right, like, for whatever our reasons are, or that we make a decision to move, and that we, like, do that relatively soon. Because I think the community's been asking about this for quite a while.
Also, another thing too is for the expenses, like, I saw that there are 2 items that we need to make a decision on, is the location and also the expense. So, I mean, keep that in mind. I don't know if we're ready to answer the expense question yet.
Well, I think the liability, I think we should, no matter where we are, I think we should have that liability.
That would be a 3rd item, because we didn't have that as.
That's the insurance number. So we can just, that would, if we were gonna vote on it, right, we would just move to authorize the insurance amount, we would move to authorize the ASL interpreter if we wanted that, and then we would move to enter into a rental contract with whichever space we want to rent. I think that would probably be the way to do it. So, I mean, just to be clear, like, I am all for casting as wide a net as possible. I've tried to facilitate that the best way that I know how. But if we are gonna research places, then I think we have to do that.
I move that we table until the next meeting, ANC commission meeting, and have the things filled out on the form and prepared to make a vote.
I said that.
So it's moved and seconded that we table this item to the next, what Commissioner Shropshire just said, so we're gonna table this to the next meeting, and everyone will come to that meeting with, so it's moved and seconded that we, I can't see, sorry.
Oh,
Sure. So I wanna make sure I heard your motion right, so we're gonna table, you wanna move to table this to the next meeting, at which time everyone will come with information, or is that gonna be?
The information needs to be shared beforehand, because we need to have a table completed.
Okay. So I think that's like, right, because that's what we said we're gonna do tonight. So,
Yeah.
again, I'm happy to recompile, I just wanna, we should set, so that I'm not doing it the day of the meeting, by when you're gonna give me that, so that I can copy paste it into one document and copy it for the room.
What's outstanding? I have to do Trinidad Rec and Joe Cole. So what else were we considering? Because there was a lot people said they were gonna do it. Can you check Joe Cole since that's in your SMD?
Or weekly also, the school and Joe Cole. We keep saying Joe Cole, but like I said, I'm in the library today. Well, the recreation is completely, in the school, recreation is locked. You can't get from the recreation park to the school.
But is the school open at nighttime? I mean, is it a possibility for us to get in there?
I just came from the meeting.
I'm just saying that we're adding more, so now that means more and more investigation, but I know we'd always had Joe Cole in there.
So, we're gonna table to next meeting, the information sent to you
This spreadsheet.
by,
Well, I was just trying to get a list of the things that are outstanding.
Let's do
Trinidad Rec,
this first. So Trinidad, Joe Cole.
yeah, Trinidad, Joe Cole, and then we brought up Edens. And then the community resident said Bethesda Baptist, that she made a recommendation that we ask Commissioner Lewis to check out Bethesda Baptist, but without her being here, I don't wanna assign her something to do if she hasn't agreed to do it. So,
You're not assigning the way I said to do it. You're not assigning she's going to do it. She got to.
but see, well, somebody else gonna do it if she doesn't.
Oh. And what about Kip?
That was on the list.
What happened to him?
Was on your list.
Nothing.
Okay.
What happened to Samaritan?
I know about that. I can borrow personal Tuesday night. I gotta make sure that
Like I said,
And
So the list that we have is Trinidad Rec, Joe Cole, Eden's, I can check with them because he said that to me and shared the information about that location. So Yvonne, you'll do Joe Cole.
Yeah.
I can do Eden's, Trinidad Rec. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna try and walk in the week tomorrow or Friday, so see the principal there and see. I mean, traditionally, we use schools for A and CD in certain neighborhoods, you know, still, especially as now we talk about a cost, because usually you have to pay the janitor to stay over or something.
Okay, so that's it. That's it, that's
A
all.
week from now, because we've got 2 weeks before the meeting, so have this up a week from now. I don't know that date, July 7th, maybe?
So,
He's out of pocket for a week, but that doesn't prohibit us from doing the work.
I'd say if you wanna set it for the 8th, doesn't matter to me whether it's the 7th or the 8th, if you want that extra day, I would love to use that weekend though to compile it.
Let's say the 8th.
Okay, so, just to restate what I'm hearing, and I think we can formally table it if we want, so Keisha is gonna look into Trinidad and Eden's, Yvonne's gonna look into Joe Cole, all of that information is gonna come to me by the 8th. I will then compile it over the weekend and send it out as soon as it's ready, definitely no later than Monday evening, ahead of our Tuesday, July 12th, ASAP.
Okay.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So moved. For the second, so one second.
I said,
Okay, all four say aye.
Aye.
And any opposition? Motion to table passes 5-0. And with that, unless there's anything else, we are done.
We'll move to adjourn.
If you want, I don't think it's necessary because there's nobody else on the agenda, but.
Okay.
Did you, for the record, can I give you